Good, happy Friday morning. I'm Riley King, and welcome to the Riley King Newscast. Let's get started. First up, death of Danville woman ruled homicide. The suspicious death of a woman in Danville has been ruled a homicide. The Attorney General's office is investigating how 51-year-old Joanne Boucher was killed earlier this week. Investigators were at the crime scene since this homicide happened, taking evidence from inside the house as well as the backyard. Neighbors are desperate for answers. That was the last time Goodwin saw Boucher alive. Boucher was known in the area of Kamal Drive as being loving, and naturing, especially toward animals. She was found dead inside her home Monday. For those who knew her, the reality of her death is just starting to sink in. The Attorney General's office announced Thursday that the suspicious death has been deemed a homicide. Neighbors like Goodwin came home Monday to a shocking sight. Goodwin said a man was living with Boucher at the time of her death, but authorities have not yet commented on that. Boucher leaves behind an ex-husband and son who both live in Massachusetts and many friends wondering what could have happened. Authorities are not releasing the cause of death at this time as they are still investigating and have not said whether they have a suspect or any leads as who may have done this. Man reunited with dog that was missing for 3 years. A Laconia man was reunited with his dog that was missing for 3 years thanks to a microchip. Dan Labasky said he remembers the day his dog Tizzy disappeared. Labasky reported Tizzy's disappearance to the Humane Society as soon as she disappeared, but didn't hear a word for years. Mary Lee Graham of New Hampshire Humane Society said Tazzy was dropped off this week by a concerned citizen who noticed the dog wandering around in Laconia by itself. Tizzy was scanned and her microchip detected them to the dog's proper owner. Microchipping typically only costs $25 and $40. Lavatsky said it was clear that his dog hadn't been to the vet in a long time. The dog's medical care will cost about $1,500. Lavatsky said he is just grateful Tazzy is home. Lavatsky started a GoFundMe page in hopes of raising money to pay Tazzy's care. You can click here to donate. Very happy news for him. Undecided voters are particularly unpredictable this year, experts say. Let's take a listen to this video from ABC News.
lifetime commitment to getting them home safely. Love, it's what makes a Subaru a Subaru.
Getting elected president is an expensive business. Campaign costs add up. There are advertisements to make, travel expenses, convention costs, even bumper stickers. But where does all this money come from? The answer begins with George Washington and dates back to before the Revolutionary War. In 1755, George failed to win a seat in North America's first legislative assembly. Undeterred, he returned 2 years later, better financed and armed with lots of boomers. A winning strategy. These days it's a bit more complicated. Enter the Political Action Committee, or PAC. They began because unions used to donate a portion of their membership dues to presidential campaigns. After Congress banned the practice in the 40s, many unions created PACs. This allowed members to voluntarily donate money to the union's Political Action Committee, which could then be doled out to candidates. But there was no limit to how much people or PACs could donate. In the 1970s, limits were put on PACs and people alike. And then came the super PACs. They can take in as much money as they like because they do not give money to the candidate. Instead, they spend their money on behalf of the candidate. Super PACs raised nearly $1 billion in the 2012 presidential election. Confirmation that political financing is a big business. Money most definitely greases the wheel. And I love money.
Okay, and there you go on that report. North Korea claims successful test of nuclear warhead. Let's take a listen to this video from CNN.
What we do together changes how we live.
Stephen, what are the Chinese officials saying?
Well, John, the Chinese Foreign Ministry just issued a brief statement voicing its strong opposition to this test. It urges North Korea to abide by its international commitments and to stop any action that would further worsen the situation. It also repeats China's long-held position that it wants to see a nuclear-free Korean peninsula and says the only way to achieve that is through dialogues and talks in the framework of the so-called six-party talks. Now, John, these are not surprising points. What's more interesting is a commentary published by the state-run Xinhua news agency a little earlier. That article did point out that the latest test was in violation of UN resolutions, but also it says it puts the whole thing in the context of the South Korean government's decision to deploy the THAAD missile defense system, saying that decision has seriously harmed the region's strategic balance and has...
Okay, and there you go on that report. U.S. futures lower as Fed speakers eyed. U.S. stocks index futures indicate a lower open on Friday morning as traders eyed comments from a series of Fed speakers. And that does it for the Riley King Newscast right here on the Riley King Network. I hope you all have a great rest of your Friday. See you back here later on today. Goodbye, everyone.